The Real Estate Photography Podcast is brought to you by tourbuzz.net, high-definition virtual tour and photograph hosting, now with interactive floor plans. Sign up for your free trial today. Hello and welcome to the Real Estate Photography Podcast with Mike Mariello. This is episode 126, exterior tip number 4. So here's an exterior shot, elevated. We've been through that before. Just a plain house, nothing really fancy about it, but there's something I don't like about this shot, and that is the fact that the house to the left of what we're seeing is kind of invading this house's space. It is a distracting element. I'm going to show you a technique that I do constantly, and I should say typically with townhouses and row houses, because they share the same space, is we're going to blur that out. And there's a couple of different ways of doing it, but I typically do it in Photoshop very quickly. So what you do is you duplicate that back layer, and you're going to run a filter that you're going to blur it. Now, you can use lens blur. That's actually going to give you the most realistic type of racking out of focus, like a shorter depth of field kind of blur. But I'm just going to use Gaussian blur just to show you, because it's quicker, and Photoshop renders it a lot quicker. So you can see that's what it looks like normally. That is obviously too much. But if you back it off and just watch the house on the left and see where it is that you want it to be kind of out of focus, but you don't want it to be too out of focus, otherwise you're like, doesn't look right. That looks fine to me. And what you do is you add another layer mask, and basically I said another layer mask because I'm constantly using layer masks when making these edits. So it's not terribly complicated. But anyway, so now here's something I'm not gonna do. I'm not just gonna bring it over straight across and blur out the house, because there's this house back here that you can also see. So I'm gonna bring it up against the roof. So if you see, I'm on a diagonal along the roof. And don't worry about being perfect, just worry about having a gradual blur. That looks about right. Then we're going to throw our brush on and make sure that it's huge, first off, and that it's a soft brush, not a hard brush. And basically, we're just going to go up against the edge of the roof line here. Again, because it's soft, you're not really going to be able to tell that I'm doing all this. We're going to paint out the sky, leave that tree out of focus, and bring the clouds back. But for the most part, we can bring it down to get to this finer part down here. But there you go. That's it, and that was quick, right? But here, and this is what our mask looks like. So all this is in focus, and all the stuff that's over there is supposedly out of focus. There's before, there's after. If I make it about the size you're going to see it in the MLS system, there's before, there's after. It's just a tiny change to the photo to make that background less distracting and make your eye flow right to the main subject, which is the house you want to see. Alright, thanks for watching. Have a good one.